Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Phil Switch. I'm Phil Carute, and I'm joined by my fearless co-host, Brock Tamarino. The Phil Switch podcast is brought to you by Sal's Tire Caps. Sal's Tire Caps. When the zombie apocalypse comes, you're going to be glad you went with Sal's Tire Caps. Trust me. All right. Well, again, hello, everyone, and Christmas has passed. We are now heading into the new year. So we welcome you all and hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Brock, I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Just hung out with family. We're lazy. Hung out around the house all day, and obviously I don't want to talk about the weather, but very cold. It's winter, and obviously where we live, it's very cold here. So, but other than that, really, yeah, good Christmas, good time with family. Things like that. But I gotta say, not that I want to shrug off Christmas because it's important, but I am pretty excited about today's show, if I say so myself.
Yeah. And just real quick for the audience, again, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I too had a good Christmas. Hung out with family. Basically, did about the same thing that Brock did. So had a very good Christmas. And Brock, I do know that you're excited about this episode. For the listeners, you know what, Brock? I'm just going to let you do the whole build up and the intro for our guests. So take it away, Brock.
Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty excited about today. We have we have a voiceover artist in the studio. I've wanted to talk to a voiceover artist for quite a long time. It was always a dream of mine to be a voiceover artist. I thought that would have been really fun, but I just, for whatever reason, the stars didn't align. And so I've been talking to our producers for the past, couple weeks, and he was able to line somebody up. They actually did a little thing for us on the Phil Switch on our YouTube channel, and we also posted that to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to hear his story, how he came to be a voiceover artist, and also maybe if he would allow us to hear some work he's done, if that's possible. So again, sorry, I'm just really excited. Without further ado, the guest that we have in the studio today is no. The guest we have in the studio today, Gerald. Gerald, thank you for joining the Phil Switch. Such an honor to have a guy in your line of work here in the studio today. And just introduce yourself a little bit, if you would, Gerald. Kind of tell us how you got into the work you did, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, I started out, actually, it's kind of a funny story, okay? What happened was I never planned to get into voice work, okay? And the thing is some people were first introduced to the timbre of my voice because that's basically how I get hired. A lot of people say, well, do you do voices or, do you change your voice at all or anything, Gerald? Okay. And I say, well, no, I don't. People just naturally are drawn to the natural timbre of my voice, okay? So basically how I got started is one day when I was about 5 or 6, my dad and I went into a grocery store, and I noticed that the cashiers had that little phone thing by the register, okay? And they would speak into that, and it went all over the store, okay? And I thought, well, that's really cool. I'd like to be able to do something where I can talk into something, because I was, like I said, I'm like 5, so I didn't know anything about microphones, okay? And at that time. And so I got to watching these people, and they'd be like, I need a carry-out guy to aisle 5. I got a price check, okay? And so I saw them doing this, okay? And I went to one of the registers. It was closed, but it was open, like nobody was there, but it was closed down. So I went to one of the registers. I told my dad, I said, I have to go to the restroom real quick, okay? And back when I was a kid, we could go to the restroom by ourselves, and our parents would continue shopping, okay? And so my dad said, well, hurry back now, okay? He said, meet me over by the dairy section, okay? And so I instead of going to the restroom, I lied to my dad, and I went up to the microphone and I said, "Clean up on aisle 5, okay?" And everybody's like, "What?" And so I see people going. I see a guy going to aisle 5. Well, I'm watching a little bit. Nobody really knows where it came from because there's other people saying stuff on their telephone, microphone things, okay? And the guy goes to the aisle and he's looking around. And I said, "I'm at aisle 6, clean up on aisle 6, okay?" And so the guy went to aisle 6, okay? And he goes to that aisle and there's nothing there. Of course, I couldn't see aisle 5, or I see aisle 5, but I couldn't see aisle 6. I didn't know if there was anything there or not for him to clean up. And so he gets to aisle 6, he comes back to the end of the aisle, so I can just see him. He's kind of looking around. I said, "No, I'm at clean up on aisle 8, okay?" And so he sees me saying it, and he flags down one of them supervisors, okay? And they come over and they have a talking to me. And my dad comes up. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I just want to make loud noise in the speaker thing, okay?" And anyway, fast forward a couple years or a handful of years, and I end up getting a job. I got a job at that grocery store, okay? And I was asking and making requests on that thing, which I still like doing, but of course I was doing it more in a professional capacity at that point, okay? And so I'm a cashier. I'm up there. I ask a carry out guy for something, and there's the guy in my aisle is like, "Oh my gosh." He's like, "Can you get on there again?" I was like, "Well, sir, I'm really not supposed to, okay? What I'm supposed to do is I'm only supposed to use this telephone mic thing if I need somebody to help me or if I need something with something, okay?" And the guy's like, "Well, could you just do it one more time, okay?" And I said, "Well, let's do this." So I spun a scenario in my head, okay? And I said, "What I'm going to do is I'm going to scan your milk, and then I'm going to say it's the wrong price, okay?" And the guy's like, "Well, why don't you just pick up the phone mic and say something?" I was like, "Well, I want a good story, okay?" And so I scanned his milk and it came up the right price, okay? But I said, "Price check on, I forget what aisle I was, but price check on aisle 7, okay?" And the carryout guy came up and he took the milk, and I said, "Oh, you know what? I must have scanned the wrong thing, okay?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, it's fine. It's okay." And he said, "Fine." And he said, "Well, that'll be all right." And I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Do you need anything?" I said, "No, I think everything's okay, okay." And he said, "Okay." And then I said, "But I mean, while you're back there, if you wouldn't mind grabbing me a yogurt for my break, okay?" And he said, "Okay." And I said, "You sure it's no problem?" And he said, "No, it's no problem." I said, "Well, thanks, okay." And he said, "Okay." And so anyway, this guy that was asking me to do that thing in the telephone mic thing, he said, "That your voice is just so has such a great timbre, okay?" And I said, "Well, I've heard that maybe once or twice from school teachers after I gave a speech, okay?" And he said, "Well, that doesn't surprise me." And I said, "Well, I guess hearing it from you after I heard it from my school teachers doesn't surprise me either, okay?" And so anyway, that's how I kind of got started. And like I said, I don't do any voices. People just like the natural timbre of my voice. And, as they say, the rest is history, okay?
So that is fascinating. You started out as a little kid, and then you get this part-time job in high school, and then this guy just, as fate would have it, uh, basically a talent agent is what it sounds like, shows up at your store. He hears you talking to this mic, and like you said, the rest is history. So, how does that process work? Um, do you write your own copy? Like we don't write our own copy. Sal sends it, but do you write your own copy when you get hired by these places? Do they write it for you? How does that work?
Well, some of the copy I have been able to write, okay, but for the most part, the stores or the companies have somebody that writes their copy, okay, and then I just come in and read the lines, okay. That's all I do.
All right, I gotta ask you, Gerald. Um, So I has anybody ever recognized you like from the work that you've done? Because there was this like local news guy, right? And he had like the typical like newscaster advertiser voice you hear. And anyway, I remember this story about him. He had like left town for a while, like a couple years, and then he came back. And I remember that he was at an airport one time, and I thought this was so funny. Somebody recognized him, and they had recognized him, but they didn't say anything to him yet because he was having a problem with the airline, the person at the counter there. And the person I talked to said, "Yeah, I recognized him, and it was hilarious. And maybe, I guess this doesn't look well on him, but apparently." they were giving him a hard time because he didn't have the stuff he needed to check his bag or whatever. And he said to them, he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And he just let it hang there. He struck and then he let it hang. And the buddy that was telling me about that said it was hilarious because it was just this local guy that honestly not a whole lot of people knew. But he did the local news, so he assumed everybody knew him, but these people didn't. Anyway, that was just a little anecdote that just came to mind. But do people recognize you out in public?
I don't think I've ever had anybody recognize me, okay? Like, because I just do voiceover work, so nobody really knows what I look like, okay? And even doing this show here, I doubt anybody's going to remember my face, okay? So, but you did ask me, and I know that you had made mention if I could do some of the ads I did. Now, I did sign a non-disclosure agreement with all those companies because they don't want my voice being, they don't want my advertisement in my voice that I did for them, the advertisement in my voice I did for them, they don't want it just going over free air, okay? Because they got to pay for all that advertising, whether it's a Super Bowl or, just like Wednesday night, family night TV shows, okay? Or TGIF. I know that's not a thing anymore, but it used to be TGIF TV, okay? And I did a couple ads for them when I was real young and real new in the business, okay? And so I brought a couple things, and I've modified them a little bit because my non-disclosure agreement says I can do that. So I've got those pulled up on your screen, so I want to make sure I get them right. But here's some of the ads I did. The first ad is for Chord Trucks. Okay, that's Chord Trucks. So some people buy a truck, okay? Some people buy a lifestyle, okay? That's what you get when you buy Chord, okay? And so people probably might be able to connect the dots and figure out what that was, but that was for Chord Trucks. Of course, that's not the actual company I did it for, but it's basically the same copy I did. So that's how that ad went. I got a couple more here. You guys got any other questions real quick?
I actually have one question. So, Gerald, I noticed that everybody has their little things they do, or their nervous things, or whatever you call it. But I noticed you say "okay" at the end of almost every line, and I couldn't help but notice you did it at the when you were reading that copy. I actually haven't heard that Chord Trucks ad, but do you say "okay" in all the ads as well?
Oh, I guess I never thought of that. Okay, but yeah, I guess I do when I've gone back and listened to the ads. Yet now that I think about it, yeah, I do.
And the companies don't think to edit that out or anything?
No, because the companies they just like the natural timber, and what I've typically run into, especially as I've been doing it longer, is I'll go in and the companies are like, "Just do your thing, okay, Gerald?" And I say, "Well, I can do my thing if you like it, okay?" And they say, "Well, we tend to like it quite a bit." And I say, "Well, you're in the hands of a professional, okay?" And they say, "Okay, well, just read that copy the way you want to do it." And I say, "Oh, that's the only way I know how to do it is my way, okay?"
All right. I mean, if they hire you, it's kind of like studio musicians when they get hired. People hire them to do their thing. They come in. They might have the producer, the musician that studio musician's working with might have an idea, but then they kind of let the studio musician just kind of explore the space. So that's cool. Anyway, I think you said you had a couple more ads to read just to kind of give us an idea of what you've done. Maybe get the listeners. Give them a little something to get an idea of the extent of your work, your catalog. So go right ahead, Gerald, with the next ad.
All right, so this one is again, I've got to change the company names, but basically everything else is the same. So this one is for Floritos nacho chips. So that's Floritos nacho chips. So when the party calls for cheese and crunch, don't show up empty-handed, okay? Be the life of the party with Floritos, okay? Floritos, cheesy and crunchy, okay? So that's that ad for Floritos chips, in case anybody might want to connect the dots on that one to figure out what product that was. I do have one more. that I want to read you guys. I mean, I've got such a number of ads that I've done, but I didn't want to bombard you guys with all that. Okay, so here's the last one. Okay, this one's for Chictoria's Secret Underwear for Women. Okay, so that's Chictoria's Secret Underwear for Women. All right. Okay. Okay. So you guys want me to go ahead and start?
Yeah, this is excellent. I'm loving this. It's amazing. You know, obviously, I'm not gonna. I know you got your non-disclosure agreement, so I'm not gonna say the actual brands, but it is amazing with the size of brands that you've gotten to work with, and the just in these three ads, the diversity within these brands. So yeah, please go ahead with yeah, I get it. Chictoria's Secret Underwear for Women. Go ahead, Gerald.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead, okay? Chictoria's Secret Underwear for Women, okay? Women like to be sexy, okay? But women also like to be comfortable, okay? But that special woman in your life, hold on, I'm sorry, what? Oh, hey, I think your producer, hold on. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Women like to be sexy, okay? But women also like to be comfortable, okay? Buy that special woman in your life, Chictoria's Secret, okay? They're sexy and comfortable, okay? Well, maybe not the thongs, but most of the other stuff is pretty comfortable, okay? So that was for Chictoria's Secret Underwear for Women. If you can connect the dots on there, okay, you can probably figure out what company I was working for there, okay?
So you don't have to give me a number, but is this your full-time job then?
Oh yeah, this is what I do exclusively. Okay, I got a whole setup at. Sometimes I use a setup at my house as far as recording. Other times the company wants me to go to a specific location, which obviously I get to use free of charge. It's on the company dime. Okay, and I just do my thing. I read their copy and just do my thing. Okay.
That is really cool. So, if you don't mind me asking, and you don't, like I said, you don't have to give me a number. How much would you say you make doing this? Like, I mean, is it more than people would just answer that question? Is it more than people would expect, or is it less than people would expect, or is it just right about what people would expect?
Oh, I guess I've never thought about what other people's expectations are. Okay, of financial stability. Okay, so I guess if I really had to dissect it, okay, and think about it, I would say it could probably be any three of those, okay? Some people might think I get paid too much, okay? Some people might think I get paid too little, okay? And some people might think I get paid just right, okay? So I guess I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I'm able to pay my bills, okay? I'm able to get the things I need, okay? I have a modest house, okay? But I probably would anyway, okay? I don't know that I'd want a big house anyway, okay? Just more things for me to dust, and I hate dusting, okay? Even though I did do a commercial for a dusting a company, okay? That was kind of a fun one. I can't give you the name on that, but it rhymes with Twiffer, okay? And yeah, so I'm happy with what I do. Okay, I get up every day, loving my job more than the day before. Okay, I've got to experience a lot of stuff. Okay, I get paid. Okay, but then also from these companies, they'll give me free stuff. Okay, which is fine. Sometimes, but then there's some companies, I work for everybody, okay, so it doesn't matter to me, I'm just reading copy, okay, but there's some companies where maybe they send me stuff I don't need, okay, like a lot of the women's products, they'll send me that, okay, and that gets kind of creepy, okay, but other than that, it's pretty nice, as the kids say, gig, okay.
Well, Gerald, that has really been something. I appreciate you coming on. I really don't have any other questions unless Phil does. Phil, do you have any other questions?
No. Yeah, it seems like a good living. Seems like you enjoy what you're doing. And a question I had. So when you got, I guess I thought of this because of what Brock asked. When you first got the job, obviously you were young. So did your parents have to take care of anything, or like is this like a higher level job or something like that?
Oh no, no, no! My parents didn't have to take care of anything. My dad was real proud of me. Okay, and even he said, "I knew you're gonna be." He said, and this is something that I always think about. Okay, my dad said, "I knew from the time that I saw you in that grocery store, standing up on that counter, holding that microphone telephone in your hand. Okay, after you told that guy to clean up 3 or 4 hours. Okay, he said, I knew you're gonna do something great, Gerald. Okay, and I said, Dad, I'm glad I made you proud. Okay."
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, Gerald, yeah, like Brock said, thanks for coming on the Phil Switch. Brock, you know what? You were so excited about this. I'm just going to let you take us out.
Okay, so yeah, Gerald, thank you again. If any of our listeners out there have any questions for Gerald, let us know. We will try to get him back on to answer any other questions you guys might have, even if it's just a couple questions or something. If he has time to do that, Gerald, would you mind answering questions from our audience if they have them later?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay, I wouldn't have any problem with that. Okay, I can help people out and answer any questions they might have. Okay.
Oh, that is great. Okay. Now I'm saying it. Now I'm saying okay. This is just this is hilarious. Anyway, Gerald, thank you very much for coming out. I just want to say to our producer, thank you for bringing Gerald on. So exciting, such an inspiring story, and I just couldn't be more excited about it. I just love it. This was an interview I was hoping I would be able to do someday. Super excited. So anyway, as Phil said, I can take us out. So on behalf of Phil and myself, the Phil Switch producer, thanks for listening to the Phil Switch podcast. Don't forget to check out Phil on his other podcast with Kaplowitz over at Kaplowitz Media. .xyz. That was Kaplowitz.xyz, Kaplowitz Media. Sorry, I'm getting nervous here. I usually don't do this. With the email. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so by emailing us at thephilswitch@gmail.com. Again, that's thephilswitch@gmail.com. We wish you all a great week, a great Christmas. We wish you guys a happy new year because we won't talk to you before the new year arrives. So we wish you all a happy new year, and we'll talk to you soon here at the Phil Switch. I think that was good.